Hey, hello. Ephraim Osara here again today on FamilyWorth. Um, yeah, sometimes I even ask myself, why do I bother to do this? Um, it's I always try to explain. It's really to continue to talk. It doesn't make me talkative because the question that may follow is that who are you to talk? Why shouldn't the other person be talking? Hey, everyone is welcome to this platform. But when it comes to family and that important part of our lives, I just feel that we need to keep talking. How we talk matters because sometimes we cannot afford to hurt people in the process of talking. But we cannot afford just to keep quiet looking at the situation with families, especially, uh, I must start for myself, because it's possible that some people are getting it perfectly right, but I can almost assure you that everyone has stuff that we are going through. Yes, I'm not saying that we come to a public platform like this and just begin to pour everything and spill everything out. No, but we need to keep having a kind of platform where people can share safely, so that you know that you are not alone. This is common with man, things that we share on this platform. So it's really a question I reflect on. Why do we need to do this? And it doesn't have to be me. There are a lot of more popular platforms out there. So, but we keep it going. And when we need to stop, we will stop. I can assure you that it's not something that I would like to be doing forever. Or possibly some other person can come on and do something better. But in the meantime, Family Worth is adding a voice to the other voices in this space, just to promote the worth of family, the value of family, the place of family in our lives as individuals, as communities, and as nations. So today, this is a timely topic. I'm sure everyone can relate to the situation with COVID. And COVID every now and then just has brought disruptions. And one that is really disturbing for many people, it's not just only families, even for businesses, is lockdown. And I'm sure virtually every part of the world has experienced some sort of lockdown because of COVID. And once a lockdown is implemented, and normally it's at the government level, and there are concerns for public health, so they would, as a law, just enforce a lockdown. That means everybody needs to stay indoors for a while. And I don't need to go into why they do that because I'm not a public health expert, but I know that when COVID, the virus is spreading, by the time you do lockdown or implement a lockdown, the idea is that when everyone is indoors in their own space, people that really have the virus, it will show without necessarily spreading it to people. So lockdown will force that virus to come out from somewhere because but come out in a safer way rather than spreading to thousands before it comes out. So that's a concept of lockdown. And unfortunately, that results to being locked in. And I don't need to explain what locked in is. When you're on lockdown, like we have experienced it in where I live, during the lockdown, everyone stays at home, literally. And you know what that also causes. While trying to solve one issue of avoiding spread of the virus, being locked in has been known to cause a few other issues. I don't even want to go into business because that's not focus of FamilyWorth. The focus of FamilyWorth is family. So when there is a lockdown like that, there are other issues. For example, loneliness, isolation, mental health issues, because when people are driven into isolation, as you could imagine, because humans, we are social beings. We thrive by interacting with other humans in some safe, of course, safely. So when people are locked in, there's a risk of isolation. There's a risk of course, in the process of isolation, many other things can happen. Again, I'm not a mental health expert, but it is intuitive. It is known. Like in Australia, for example, where I live, the rate of mental illness due to COVID has been widely reported everywhere, even on news media, that we've seen a spike in mental health issues because of lockdowns and locked-ins. But one focus area I just want to highlight today, which sometimes you may not hear in the mainstream, is how such lock-ins can actually cause people to be locked up. And that is what we really don't want, because being locked in and causing all those issues we mentioned, sometimes when you now come out of lockdown, unfortunately, people do not come out with it. People get locked up, and locked up there in parentheses, it just means when you've gone through all those isolation, a lot of other issues may come up, and we've seen them firsthand. I don't want to go into the details, but as we go on, we'll see that the concept of being locked up, of being isolated, of the impact of lockdown lingering for some people than others. And that is what we're just trying to highlight today, because it is real. It is real. Even when lockdowns are lifted, unfortunately, some people come out. And fortunately, some people come out, but unfortunately, some others do not come out with lockdown being lifted. There are other lingering issues which the psychologists, the mental health experts will know how to deal with more. But I'm just taking it from the ground of family today, and because this also impacts on families. Lockdown will force you as a family to either really thrive well, because that's where family comes to light. Family is meant to be a safe place. It is meant to be a place where people do life together, where we cover each other's gaps and each other's weaknesses. So lockdown, by driving people to get locked in as a family, yes, hopefully that would be expected to make you really thrive, because you are together in one place, you're doing life together that you should be. Even if you weren't talking together before, you likely should be you may likely talk more because you are together. But what we've seen, and I'm not saying that this is general, there may be exception, but what we've seen in many cases is it brings out the vulnerability in families. And I'm not saying that I have it perfect here because lockdowns, COVID, pandemic has come to show some vulnerability as well. And what we do with them from here becomes the most important thing. And that is why we're bringing this series, because we can talk about all the things that lockdown has caused, which is true. Lockdown has caused a lot of issues, many of them at micro, meso, and macro levels. But for FamilyWorth, our focus is a family unit primarily. And the idea is not to judge. The idea is not to, because really, I am not an expert. I couldn't judge, because if I point one finger at somebody, definitely I will have, if I can show it in my camera, I'll have three pointing to me. Okay, if I point to someone, three is pointing to me. So it's not about judging people, because we know too that no one is in the issue of family. Many times we all have our stuff we deal with. But this program is to share, is to lead conversations safely, so that people know that they're not alone. One, people know that there's hope, because where there is no hope, that's when things really, really fall apart. There is hope, no matter what is going on, even with COVID, there is hope. I don't believe COVID is the end of the world, as challenging as it is. I mean, what will you tell those in India right now that it's not the end of the world, or in Brazil, where it has, or in US at one time, where it has really taken hardship of COVID to the next level, misery, pain, loss. So it may be difficult to really tell those people that it's not the end of the world, but thankfully they do know that it's not the end of the world. Um, so today is really just, let's provide that hope. Let's provide that words of encouragement. Uh, when I do this kind of program, it may just reach one person that need it. And if no other person, I'm speaking to myself all afresh. I need it. I know what COVID has exposed in my own life as an individual and as a family unit and as a nation where I live. I know what COVID has, the message that COVID has brought to us, whether we wanted to hear it or not. So really, it's just talking about how can we make sure that uh, lockdown, which we cannot avoid in COVID situation right now in my country, down in the east, just yesterday, one of the states, Victoria, has gone into lockdown again, and this is the fourth lockdown. Fourth. Uh, just imagine what it means when people have to go into lockdown, not once, not twice, not three times, four times. And there may be other regions where it's worse. But the great thing is that people do come out again and start life, come out and start life. We also know that a few people actually find it much more difficult. And one group that I am really trying to reach out today is those, unfortunately, that get locked up in the process. It's like being in prison, really. Just imagine being in a prison yard where you are locked up in that cell. Of course, lockdown wasn't meant to take people into being locked up. But unfortunately, people end up experiencing that, at least mentally, psychologically. And again, I must disclose, I'm not a psychologist, but this is human situation, and I'm speaking to the human aspect of it. So how do you, number one, avoid down plus locked in, leading to locked up, someone being closed up as a result of all this suffering and disruptions. And because many times it may not be fully avoidable, how do we come out of it? Again, I'm not talking about the cell physical lockup. I'm talking about that mental area, that psychological area that this can cause. So yes, that's what we were just trying to look at today. We always do this just to tell people, because sometimes when you have conversations like this, depending on who sees this clip, some people may see a need to talk to someone. I believe in the help industry a lot. They are being heavily funded because they are needed. So if by reason of what we share here, you need to talk to someone confidentially, in Australia, government is funding a few bodies to play this role, because people in the community every now and then will need someone to talk to. So one of them is Lifeline Australia. That's the number there. The other one is Beyond Blue, especially when it comes to mental health issues, and of course domestic violence, which as FamilyWorth we are fully against, but it happens. In case you need to talk to someone, that's their number. Headspace in Australia is very specific and very good with youth. So youth mental health, that's the number. And again, if it's kids, you need to talk to someone as a parent, that's the number there. And it may be different for other countries. So like what I've said already about COVID situation, it is, apologies for repeating what is obvious. The world is suffering as a result of COVID. And this 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 program is not meant to point finger or blame, but it's the reality. COVID-19 has brought pain. It's still bringing pain. I did cite the case of India, which our hearts, our family would always go to in prayers and comfort. Um, uh, Brazil is another one that has had a very bad run, and then USA at some point in time where you have thousands and thousands of deaths. You know, it almost came to a point where we're talking of human beings, not animals. So one can only imagine it. Even as I'm here talking, I can only imagine it compared to those that are feeling it in the midst of it. But our hearts, our prayers go to them. So it's brought immense pain, and it's still doing those, unfortunately. And it has come out to expose our vulnerabilities. Um, and I'll just like allow that to sink to just sink in a bit, because as you know, human beings, we are expert at hiding our vulnerabilities, or as avoiding being vulnerable. We hide our weaknesses a lot. It's human. But what one thing that COVID has brought is to show that we are humans, is to show that there are situations that sometimes look as if there is no solution. Um, it's almost a case where powerful nations like China, the USA, even my own country, Australia, as technologically advanced, uh, we couldn't solve it. And I'm not, again, it's not blaming anyone, but it just shows our vulnerabilities as human beings. And up to now, there is really no solution. I'll give you an example. Like in where I live, it's now almost a case of we need to start planning how to live with COVID, how to manage it, how to reduce the deaths. It's no longer a case of if. And sometimes as individuals, I don't know whether it's occurred to you whenever you watch this or you see this, you almost feel it that, okay, is it a matter of time that I catch it as well? And we are blessed to be in some countries like in Australia. Australia has had a good run. It's a blessing. But again, imagine someone in India at some point in time, even now. It's almost a case of where can I run to? You can't run away from your family. Sometimes I imagine it. What if someone very close to me catches it? I can take all these precautions, but I cannot run away. And that's family. So it's really come to challenge and expose our vulnerabilities a little bit. And I don't know where we go from here, other than the fact that there is hope. There is hope. There's hope. And we have to exercise that blessing of being hopeful, of having hope. The great thing now, despite all those I said, that there's vaccine, but we already know there have been cases, for example, that shows that even with vaccine, some people got it. Of course, it's always helpful. I mean, I know there's a lot of debate around vaccines as well. I shared an image earlier on that shows that I have taken it, and I'm not going to put it as a debate or judging anyone that feels reluctant to take it, but I have. And even when that needle was going in, there were still questions in my head in terms of how safe, in terms of all the side effects, all the risk, you know. So you can see where COVID would also task you to dig deep into what is beyond this human frame. It will task you to dig deep into faith, into hope. And that's what I did earlier today when taking my vaccine, the first shot. So the vulnerabilities are there, and the flip side of it, which part of me, especially for those who sees this, that may really be going through some hardship as a result of this situation. But I would just say that there are some positives. It's very hard to bring the narrative of positive in the midst of suffering. But if you look at the history of mankind, particularly with our own faith and our own value with regards to family worth, we say it. We do appreciate that there are other viewpoints, but ultimately, the Christian worldview is our key point of reference. But we try to be inclusive because it's about life. But we believe that faith, you need to dig deep sometimes. You need to think beyond the frame that you see, and COVID has come to do that. So when I was taking that injection with all the questions in my head, I have to speak to my heart. It's okay, do it, and I did it. so I mean, I don't want to go into the details of how it works, the faith. This when we do this kind of podcast, we go at this level. If you want to go to the deeper level, there are platforms for that, and we encourage people to go deeper, because the deep things, the precious things of life, are always in the deeper places, like gold. So I'll leave that there. It's come to really challenge us, and that challenge has brought up another part of our lives: the need to appreciate life and important aspects of life. I don't know for you, since COVID, started, have you not reflected on what life really means? And has it not challenged you to think, okay, where is this taking us to? And what is really the important aspect of life? What if I catch it? What if I contract the virus? What if my loved ones do? And unfortunately, people have experienced this. It's not that one is better than those that have suffered these kind of situations. So it makes you to appreciate life, really, in case you haven't before now. And it also challenges you, hopefully, if the former clause goes well, it should challenge you to take actions and pursue real life. Allow me to use that word real, because many times we pursue things that are not real, and I'm not judging. That interpretation may be left to individuals. But when you go through the situation that the world is going through now with COVID, it should make you to start thinking, what are the important things of life? And this brings me to that very popular illustration. I don't know whether some people that will watch this or see this later may not have heard it, but I heard it over and over again in my life. And situation like COVID brings it up. What would be that thing if you are at your deathbed? And I hope you are not. But unfortunately, some people are right now. What will be that aspect of life if you are given the opportunity that before you go, is there something you want to amend? Is there something you want to do? Is there an issue you want to address? Is there part of your life you want to fill the gap that may have been there? What will it be? What will it be? Every time that question comes up or illustration, I don't know, maybe some people may be exceptions. It's never about work. I want to go and finish that work in the workplace. It's never about how do I get that beautiful fashion. It's likely not going to be that. Often you hear things like my loved ones. You hear things like I'll just put some thoughts here. I'm not saying that it has to be this, but it could be that phone call. It could be that visit. It may be that I am sorry. Please forgive me. It may just be that. And I mean, we see it in movies, but that's real life. Many times at deathbed, some people just want to say to someone, maybe a partner that they felt they could have spent more time with, that they are leaving, they just want to say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Or someone that they've wronged. What can I do? So these are pointers to the real aspect of life. And many times it comes back to family. And this is why family, in FamilyWorth, we believe family is so important. I know sometimes the trend of time wants to relegate that. Sometimes um, life as we do it these days want to feel that we can do without families, you know. But hey, I have reflected on that question. I've watched movies around it. I have read some books around it. It's a very popular illustration to illustrate the important things of life. When one is asked if you are at your deathbed, you have another few days sometimes, and it's real. Unfortunately, some people are giving that prognosis, medical terms, that you have. I can, from my estimate as a specialist, 6 months, 3 months. What? And again, I don't want to make this feel as if I'm putting somebody under pressure, but it's coming down from the topic today of being locked up, because that situation could almost be like a situation again of being locked up. That being in that place where you're locked up for some reason or the other. And some of them is because of COVID, which is where we come from. Yes, when we do this, we know there is never enough time to try and address everything as you would like to, but they are just hints, they are triggers, they are things that people can reflect on further. It could mean different things to different people. But what we are saying here is that COVID has really brought up that situation that will challenge us. Yeah, that will challenge us every now and then, and 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 we need to give it time. And again, I just want to acknowledge someone who, for a while, I mean, I've seen her. I know she was busy at some point in time, but her input are always very valuable, and that is Catherine. Uh, yeah, exactly what we were just saying here, and I'm happy that Catherine agrees with me. And COVID has brought out that question every now and then. Take pleasure in the small daily things rather than waiting for a monumental event. True, true. And that is where I was just heading to, Catherine. It's good that you preempted me. So when you have those kind of situations like this, I just threw some of these here. It may not be the same for everybody, but rather than waiting, in agreement with Catherine, rather than waiting for that time or that monumental event or COVID or whatever that would make us really stop and think. And some of us, many times we needed that, unfortunately, to make us stop. But just to agree with Catherine, why don't you start doing them at least little by little? Sometimes it's hard. Have you imagined sometimes it's hard for some people to make a phone call to that person? I'm not talking about everyday phone call. Some people can strike $1 billion or $1 million business. Let me not be too big with the illustration here. They can strike $1 million business with a phone call, but that same person may not be able to do this kind of phone call we're talking about here. They could visit someone on the 100th floor, that big oval office, but they may not be able to pay that visit that gives life. And they may be able to make a persuasive presentation that will win millions of dollars, but it may be difficult to say I'm sorry. So the same thing with the others. So again, going back to just agreeing with Catherine, let's start doing those small, small things that would help to unlock us, whether COVID or not. But the point is that for some of us, COVID or life situations are driving us to do them. We didn't have to wait for those. But If that's what they will do for us, then we thank God for them. So, like I said, it's so hard. Sometimes you start wondering, again, referring to Catherine, why are we not doing these little things that matter? Why do we have to wait? Again, some people may be getting it right, but we just need to try, even during lockdown. Some people may be in lockdown currently. What an opportunity if you can pull it off. What an opportunity, especially for families. I'm not saying that it's easy for everyone. I'm not saying that I get it right myself. I'm trying, but it's a great opportunity. You are in it together in that confined space. But unfortunately, and we've seen this in Australia, for example, rather than do life, we're seeing people taking lives. So rather than give life by this kind of talks or actions or activities like the one we have on the screen currently, we're seeing a spike in domestic violence. And I'm not here to judge because sometimes situations are just bad. But we know, like in Australia, whether bad or not, when you commit that offense, you go for it. The big arm of the law will come down. But we can try to avoid it. And this brings me to why I flag here concerning the first part of this series, love. Love is widely talked about, but we cannot do too much of it. It's so important, and it can help to unlock anyone that is locked up. It can help. So love will help you do life. Love helps. And I know love these days means just anything to anyone. But one that I know about, the one or the type I'm referring to here, is that love that is a powerful weapon. That love that never dies. It is that kind of love that will make you do these kind of stuffs. Because naturally, it's hard sometimes. It's hard to make that phone call. And you know what I mean when I say that phone call. It's hard to make that visit. Sometimes it's hard to say those 3 words, powerful words. I'm sorry. And also the other part of those words, I forgive you. Of course, it's not just saying it. It's hard. So it takes love, which is a powerful weapon, which never fails, which never dies. It will take love. And I know for some people, maybe especially, the newer generations we have today, love means just something peripheral, something emotional. And it's not, I'm not against those, because we're humans. We are meant to experience and give love emotionally. Physically, we're applicable. But there's that one, because those other ones may not be able to take you far with doing this kind of stuff that will unlock someone, that would unlock you yourself that is doing it, that will, even in the midst of COVID, that would take families, that would help families to thrive, even in COVID. It takes this kind of love. And that's why we brought this topic today. Because lockdown, it looks like we're not seeing the end of it. We know those in Australia, all of a sudden, Victoria is back in again. Lockdown means locked in, unfortunately. And we know why government, public health department, we know why they do it. I mean, we know, we appreciate it. But unfortunately, it causes some people to be locked up over time. Though locking up can happen even without COVID, so we're not blaming it on COVID. But COVID, we know, contributes to it. So all we are saying is that love can help even in that situation. I like pausing sometimes just to allow things to sink in a bit, even for myself, because I'm just going to full disclosure. I'm not an expert in what I share in these conversations, and that's why I always get excited when others can share with me as well, because I'm not an expert. Let's converse together. Let's fill the air with hope. Because despite all those things I've said, that's why I'm ending on a high, on a love note. That love, it's a powerful weapon. It does not fail. It does not die. The kind of love I'm talking about. And it will help you to do these little, what seem like little stuff. The type of things that people many times, and that illustration is brought up. Of course, we don't put people at their deathbeds under pressure, but the reality is that when people are at that stage and they have opportunity, they are looking for things that they can do to make up. But those things we should be doing now as much as we can, starting with family. Because, hey, charity begins at home, and we must learn to do more of it. Yeah. Enough of the talk. So I'll just be rounding up now. I can see somebody still there. Once again, I want to thank Catherine for coming on earlier, making an input. In case you're still there, Catherine, you have something to add. I always like company, but at the same time, the kind of things we do, oh, what a surprise to have this giant of our time here with me, Tommy. Wow. Thank you, Tommy. Some people you see, you almost want to just pause and doff your hat. This guy has delivered a lot for our communities. He's a trailblazer. Well done, Tommy. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tommy, for coming up. I appreciate. Once again, I have quite a few things there from Catherine. Thank you so much. So true about love and the change in times. Nowadays, we are so dehumanized by technology and systems. So true. When we get back to acknowledging the humanity in each and every one of us, then love prevails. when we see the situation in India as a result of COVID, we should feel compassion in our hearts rather than see the situation as the others. So true. We need to stop and get back to the drawing board and revisit the aspect of love. Wow. And that's why I said it earlier on. Some people can do this better than me. Thank you so much, Catherine. Oh, I'll just leave this here for a while just to get in. But it's true, so true. And again, this is that is the key of this conversation. So big, so relevant, Catherine. But again, I'm just saying, starting from home, starting from families. I know a lot of families are going through stuff, and we all know that families go through challenges. Unfortunately, some do not do well in it. Others survive and go on to blossom. But love never fails. And you and I know the love we talk about is not that feeling, which is good. We're humans, like I said earlier on, but it is that love that comes from deep from the inside. And of course, when we do this program, we do it at a broader level. We also know that from our own faith and value, we know where love comes from. You cannot give what you don't have. So we need to allow love come so that we can give. And I don't want to push that further than that, but love never fails. Wow. Thank you so much, Catherine. And once again, thanks, Tommy. I really appreciate that. And I try, today we're getting over 45 minutes. I try to make this short and sharp, because it's not so much how one talks. It's just a little bit of dropping here and there so that we can reflect on them, including myself. What I talk about, I am still working on it, but I know it's so important, especially COVID situation. You can just imagine what's happening in Victoria right now, those in Australia, going back again to lockdown for fourth time. A lot of things happen, and unfortunately, some people end up being locked in, and locked up, which is what we are really talking about here. And love can unlock the lockups. So thank you, everyone. Anyone that sees this later, please, we like to just do this not because we are experts and not because others, that you saw what Tommy and Catherine shared today, others can even do it better. But we just want to keep this space. Let's highlight it, even if it takes one person to see what we do and reflect and take some actions, especially the kind of actions we mentioned earlier on. Those actions are life-changing. Those actions can unlock someone that is locked up. They can, and these are not exhaustive. So if we can just start doing these little things, it will go a long way. But I would like to round it up here, just to say thank you again, everyone. FamilyWorth, we're now making it once a month, just because other things happening in life as well. But if we have to bring it back often again, we will. But right now, once a month, as much as we can, fourth Friday of the month. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Connect with us if you can, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.